Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Write On, the podcast for aspiring authors. I'm your host, John Abrahamson. And in episode 2, we talked about your why. Why do you want to be a writer? Because that will help you through the finish line, and you can reflect on that to keep you pushing through the ups and downs. Episode 3 today, we're going to talk about idea cultivation. And what that means is one of two things. One is you have an idea for a story. It might be one sentence, it might be a paragraph, it might be a full, several page idea for a story, but maybe it stops there. Maybe you don't know how to evolve it into more ideas or more of a story. The second reason could be you have started a book and you've gotten maybe 5,000, 10,000 words in and you're out of ideas, and you know that your story should be 30, 40, 50,000 words because in your head, that's how you envision it. As far as word count and what your book should be, we'll talk about that in future episodes. That's probably going to take several episodes to discuss. So for now, we're just talking about how do you take your existing idea and get it to the finish line. So for me, it's simple. Travel is number one for me on many reasons. One of them is because it inspires me. I travel as much as I can. With all the museums, whether if it's an art museum or science museum or history museum, there's so much knowledge to go there and experience it and read it and see the artifacts and see the artwork. So travel for me is my number one way to get new ideas. It works not just for science and history and art, but also for locations. Every time you visit somewhere new, it gives me new thoughts as for me, because I do fiction, right? So it would be chase scenes or, if you're writing a thriller, the more exotic locales, the better. There's a lot of websites that you can follow where I think Google News is a good one. They always put, because you can categorize what you want to follow. So again, for me, if you write fiction, I'm really interested in what's coming up with the science in the world and, getting lots of, you can also follow history on the Google News as well. And, someone will discover some random artifact or an article or a blog will come out that talks about something that still hasn't been found yet. That's an easy way to just grab ideas and just twist it in your head to weave your fiction into that. Now, this is all with the assumption that you're writing fiction. You may not be. So your idea cultivation may be different than mine. So there's another website that I like. It's called Atlas Obscura. Anytime I travel, I look at that website first because it calls out some really unique or funky, quirky places that exist in the places you're going to travel to, including your home state or your hometown or wherever you live. It's global. So, some of the places I've gone to on my travels overseas and at home in the U.S., I look at Atlas Obscura to look at some of those quirky little places to go to and cultivate a scene out of that. So that's a great resource. Another resource is the news. Now, I try to stay clear of the news as much as possible. I try to fill my day with positivity, and sometimes the news isn't so great, but every once in a while there's a great story that comes across that you can just take and run with it. Another one would be people. I have this app on my phone. It's essentially a checklist app, and over the years I've gathered literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of just random text. It could be one word, it could be a sentence. Every time I interact with someone, whether if it's at work, on the phone, via Skype, whatever it is, family, friends, coworkers, I'm always thinking about ideas, and it could be a joke that someone told me. It could be a funny line that I heard somewhere. It could be a story about their family or friends themselves. It could be a situation that happened at work. I take everything and consume it and write it down if I think I can use it again. So people another one for me would be there's this radio. So back in the day, before there was TV, or even when there was TV, technically, there was a radio show back in the 60s and 70s called CBS Radio Mystery Theater. you can now listen to all 1,400 original radio episodes. They're about 45 minutes long. I download those and I listen to them almost nightly. Sometimes they help me fall asleep, or if I get up in the middle of the night, they help me, just calm my mind a little bit. But a lot of those give me ideas or get me in a creative mood. So that's another one. Hiking is a great one. For those of you that's really two birds with one stone. I mean, it's scientifically proven that getting oxygen and disconnecting from technology is a great way to boost creativity. So if you feel what's called writer's block, and we'll talk about that in future episodes as well, then hiking is a great way to get those creative thoughts moving. And the last one I'll say is just read something that is in your lane or in your zone, where you feel like, if I want to be this author and I might write similar to this author, read their books, because it'll get you. Now there's two thoughts around that. One is, you don't want to sound exactly like that author, but my thought is, if that gets you into the right frame of mind and kind of gets you creatively thinking, then absolutely go for it, because that'll help you write easier too. You can still have your own voice even though it's in the same genre or same style of writing. So that's totally okay. So hope this helps. I hope you go out there, start traveling, start going to museums, start going online looking for following science and history and art and news stories. And now with this COVID-19 thing, you could do virtual tours of everything, the Smithsonian and National Geographic and Google Maps. I mean, you can explore the whole world from your home. So technically, even though I like to go places physically, to feel the place, to smell what the musty church, smells like, to hear the wood creaking boards, when you're in some of these old buildings, you can't quite do that now with this COVID-19 thing. So use the online resources, but good luck. I hope you get great ideas, and anything you can think of, write it down, because a week, a day, a month, a year, 5 years from now, you might be able to go back for it. So it might not be right for your current story, but you can absolutely go back for it. So good luck, and I'll see you at episode 4. Right on.